for the media to argue after somebody has been convicted that they should be named, and if they are convicted and sentenced to a lengthy period of time in prison well after they turn 18, then they are named. There are, of course, considerations about the safety of somebody who is named and the safety of his family, but there is a public interest in naming the suspect in this case, and as your reporter explained, given that he's about to turn 18 next week, it's obviously perfectly sensible to name him now rather than suddenly come up with a name in less than a week's time.
Do you think the judge has been influenced by the events, and they are ongoing events, of violence which have occurred and the misinformation which has happened on social media? Do you think that has influenced the judge's decision in this case?
Judges do live in the real world, and they are aware of what has been going on in this part of the world this week. Now, it shouldn't make any difference what this young man is called. It shouldn't make any difference where he's from or what his background is.
Yes.
But certainly there has been concern about who he is.
Yep.
There has, as you've correctly reported, been a great deal of misinformation. And I'm sure that that was one of the factors that the judge took into account when deciding, as we were told by your reporter, that it was in the public interest to name this defendant now.
Have injured dozens of British police officers. This happened in Southport, the same town where a 17-year-old man is accused of killing 3 young girls and wounding several others in a stabbing attack at a dance class. The protests were fueled by online speculation that the suspect was a Muslim migrant. Police say he was born in the UK, but they did not disclose anything more about him. Daniel Stamford from our partners at the BBC joins us now from Southport, England. So, Daniel, who do authorities say was behind yesterday's violent protests, and who were they targeting?
Yeah, the quiet of this town was shocked by screams of children on Monday morning, but then ruined by the sounds of rioting last night. And the police are saying that those responsible were supporters of what's known as the English Defence League. That's a far-right group that has campaigned against Muslims in this country for quite a few years now. And they had put it out that the suspect in this attack was a Muslim and a migrant, when in fact, not only was he born in this country, but it seems almost certain that he wasn't of the Muslim faith either. But what we saw were police officers being hit in the head by officers limping from the scene, and in all 53 officers were injured last night, and 12 of them ended up being taken to hospital because of the seriousness of their injuries, and 4 people have been detained so far, and the police chief has promised there'll be more to follow.
So they gave you the spin, let me give you the real spiel. So basically they had race riots break out in London, right? So looks like this black immigrant kid, 17, about to be 18, within a week, goes in. Now, they said he's not a Muslim, but then they went to a mosque and then started rioting, destroying the mosque, attacking people. Looks like probably what's going on is they knew who the kid was, right? So this black immigrant kid, for whatever reason, 17, about to be 18, goes, and you want to bet it's because these people probably treated him like shit. So, all his life, probably calling them niggers, all kinds of stuff. And let me cut through the bullshit, right? Unless he was just straight up mentally ill, which they haven't mentioned, right? He's not a terrorist. So what could it be? And then you have all these white people in this English Defense League. That's just an English Nazi group. They go and then start rioting, beating the police, trying to burn down, I guess, a mosque or whatever, right? In London, Southport, wherever this is, right? So basically what you have going on, you got a race riot where this black youth, who probably was abused by these people, immigrant, he goes off, loses it, starts killing people, right? Kills some kids, stabs some adults, right? And then the white people, the right-wing Nazis, start rioting and fighting police and, basically trying to, go after you know, all of the non-white people. Because they weren't going after other white people except the cops who was getting in their way. You see? They were trying to get at the people in this mosque, which were, you know, going to be your Arabs and your black people or whatever, Indians or whatever that are Muslim in England, the non-white people. So basically what you got going on is a race riot, you see, probably that stemmed from them mistreating that kid, and then he snaps, right? Because if he wasn't, they said he wasn't he didn't even attend a mosque, he wasn't a Muslim, and he wasn't a migrant. He was born in England, some black immigrant, African immigrant born in England, 17. So they didn't want to even say who this guy was that caused all these riots. They really didn't want to tell you what was going on. But the real deal is the same thing that's going to happen everywhere, right? It was a race riot. That's what it was. You see, bottom line, let's just cut the bullshit out. It was a race riot that's going to lead to a race war, you see. But, yeah, we'll just leave it there. That's all I got.